In the previous class, I explained the beginning of the modern Indian history. In this class, I would like to explain the remaining part of it. What were the changes which happened during the time of Britishers here in India? A number of changes came about in different spheres of life during the 190 years of British colonial rule in India. Let us see what were the changes. Geographical changes, political changes, economical changes, cultural and social changes. Geographical changes. In 1757, the Indian subcontinent was divided into a number of kingdoms and provinces like Hyderabad, Bengal, Awadh, etc. Some other independent kingdoms ruled by Marathas, Rajputs, Jats, etc. British came to establish their direct rule over large parts of India and maintain a strong indirect rule over all other local kingdoms like princely states. Political changes. British rule in India first established under English East India Company. They came in 1600 to start business and trade here in India. But gradually they understood the weakened power of later Mughals. So they captured the political power from them and ruled over in India. 1707 to 1857, English East India Company ruled over here in India. 1857 onwards, Britain government directly ruled over India up to 1947 when we got freedom. Second point, the emergence of a coherent, organized opposition to British rule in India by the people like zamindars, peasants, sipais, tribal people, etc. Because they were intolerant with their rules and regulations, high tax were imposed on them. That's why people took strike against them. The establishment of administrative, legal, military and political structure that formed the backbone of British rule here in India. They ruled minimum 2 centuries here in India. Many economical, political, social, cultural changes happened during the period of Britishers. Economical changes. The most striking economical change during the British period was the land revenue system. It was the most important source of income for the government. Land revenue was fixed at a very high rate. The Indian people were imposed high tax. Britishers and British officers, etc., exempted from the tax. They were taken each and every field as high tax for Indian goods and commodities, land, house, etc. This led to extreme hardships, frequent famines, peasants' migrations, and rebellion across the country. India was the colony of Britishers, so they exported raw materials like jutes, cotton, indigo, rubber, tea, coffee, etc. to England to feed British factories and industries. The finished goods sold back to India with high prices. Another point, DIndustrialization. The Indian industry and handicrafts industries, etc., completely collapsed because the handmade industry was taken much time and great delay to make the products and also very costly. But Manchester goods were very cheap and best. They were made with machines. That's why people mostly depend upon cheap and best things, which was the cause the Indian industry and handicrafts industry, etc., collapsed during that time. They declined completely. Cultural changes. Art, architecture, language, literature, even the way of using dresses also changed considerably during this period. New Delhi is one of the good examples of colonial architecture. It was a mixture of Indian and European style. Bengal School of Art and Indian novels, stories, novelites, epics, etc. also translated into English languages. Social changes. Caste barriers among the Hindus began to grow weak during the colonial period due to widespread reform movement led by Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Dayananda Saraswati, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, etc. A lot of efforts were also made to improve the conditions of women. The banning of sati, the encouragement of widow remarriage, and regulations to educate the girl child were some important developments in this time. Tribal societies integrated with the mainstream society. There was a tremendous changes in the field of education. The British required a large number of people who could run different levels of administration. So people could learn English to follow them. Let us study about the sources of modern Indian history in the next class.